What is up, enthusiasts? It is Cedar Flags here, and welcome back to another one of my videos. Once again, if I haven't told you a million times already, we reached 10,000 subscribers. That is absolutely incredible, and I cannot thank you all enough for it. And in honor of reaching 10,000 subscribers, one of the things I'm going to do for a special is to renew a little series I used to have. It was to talk about my unpopular coaster opinions. And why not start now? I absolutely love doing this series. I love talking about my hot takes in the roller coaster community with rides that I've personally ridden. I love comparing to other people's opinions because according to a lot of people, I have some pretty hot takes. So without further ado, let's get right into this video and let's see how much people I can enrage in one small video. This is Cedar Flags, and these are 5 more hot takes that I have with roller coasters. The first one, we are going to Cedar Point in Sandusky, one of my home parks. I absolutely love this park, and today we are going to be talking about the one and the only Top Thrill Dragster, one of the most critically acclaimed rides on the planet, even though it really only has 2 or 3 elements. Even though people rave about the top hat and the launch, there is one thing that a lot of people complain about, that drop. Now, people don't hate this drop, people just don't absolutely love it. I've heard so many people complain about that spiral. Instead of it just turning 90 degrees to the left, it turns 270 degrees to the right. And a lot of people would rather just have the 90-degree drop. Why is this? Because they like the view and they think it would be a lot more forceful. Heck, I know dragster superfans that think the ride is absolutely perfect, with one little nitpick, that drop. Now, I know I might be alone here, but I think the drop is perfect as it is and needs no remodelation whatsoever. Now, why is this? I am a huge, and I mean huge, fan of the spiral. In fact, this is my second favorite drop at Cedar Point, right behind Millennium Force. Yeah, I like this drop more than Mavericks and Steel Vengeances. And let me tell you why. So a lot of people say it would be better just to go straight down and turn once it evens out. But I love the feeling of spiraling down 400 feet in the air. I love falling 400 feet while going sideways. And why is this? Well, with that insane floater airtime that you get down, weightless the whole way from the top to the bottom, you also get some insane lateral Gs as you're pushed to the side as the train spirals, giving a lot more of an out-of-control sensation. Instead of just facing down while going down the drop, you are nosediving right towards the ground, and I could not make this drop any better than it already is. For my next hot take, I want to take you down to the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. More specifically, we're going to Dollywood. So when people talk about their top 3 at Dollywood, they'll usually say that their number 1's Lightning Rod, the phenomenal RMC launch. Number 2 is Thunderhead, a great wooden coaster by GCI, and they always mention number 3 being Tennessee Tornado, or maybe even number 2, or at the very least number 4. But let me tell you, it isn't even in my top 4 at the park. And why is that? First off, the ride is pretty short, but that's expected. I honestly found this ride to be a little jerky. A lot of people say that this ride is butter smooth and as smooth as a modern B&M, but I honestly found some jerks in it, just as bad as some of the older Aero loopers. I found it to be nearly as jerky as a ride like Anaconda at King's Dominion. And while it's a godsend compared to rides like Corkscrew at Cedar Point, I honestly much prefer the late Vortex at Kings Island and Carolina Cyclone at Carowinds to Tennessee Tornado, because they, in my opinion, are a lot less jerky of rides than Tennessee Tornado. Even though I still am a fan of this ride, I definitely think that people overrate it. Now we go back to Cedar Point. Now, Cedar Point is the park I have the most experience at as an enthusiast, maybe right beside Kennywood, but that is why I talk about this park more than any other park. And today I want to talk about my favorite Aero in the park. Just kidding, it's Gemini. So why do I like Gemini more than rides like Magnum XL200? Well, I am not a big fan of Magnum. I've said this in past videos, but I think this ride is just extremely janky. Now, I have no problem with jank. I even like Tennessee Tornado more than Magnum. I like rides like the Bat and Cedar Creek Mine Ride more than Magnum as well. So, why do I like Gemini so much? Well, first thing is, it's a lot smoother and a lot more enjoyable of an experience. Second off, I love that dueling factor. It makes the ride 20 times as good as it would be. And third, if you're sitting in the back row, you're going to get some pretty good airtime. you're going to get some great floater leaning into ejector, and then you are going to slam back into your seat Morgan Hyper style. It feels great, and that one camelback in between the first and second turn is truly one of the most underrated moments on any coaster I have ever ridden. I absolutely love this ride, and hope it survives years to come. I think out of the 5 I'm talking about today, this is easily the most unpopular. Now, it seems like it's almost unanimous that Thunderbird is the best B&M wing in the country, or maybe at the very least, the second best. Well, as someone who's ridden all 4 B&M wing coasters in the United States, I personally think that this is in the lower tier. Not the worst, but number 3 out of 4. Now let me explain. I prefer Gatekeeper at Cedar Point and Wild Eagle at Dollywood, but I still prefer a ride like Thunderbird to a ride like X-Flight at Six Flags Great America. I am a huge fan of duration when it comes to these B&M wing coasters, and when a ride is shorter, honestly, I'm not a big fan of it. Now, I have no problem with short coasters, but when it comes to B&M loopers, I think length is a very big factor, and rides like Gatekeeper and Wild Eagle just feel like more complete experiences. Gatekeeper is my favorite with that amazing lakeside setting, a very long layout, and a lot of diverse inversions. You have those amazing near misses with the keyholes, and some insane elements that give some pretty good hang time. This is a very good ride and a very solid coaster at this park. Now Wild Eagle, this is where the unpopular opinions come in. I am a huge fan of this ride. Now I love the hilltop setting. I think it's one of the most beautiful settings of any coaster I've ever been on, and this ride runs very well. I only got one ride on this thing, and I have to say I fell in love. All of the elements give a little bit of kick to them, especially that corkscrew, and even though this ride isn't as long as Gatekeeper, I still think it packs one heck of a punch. Now let's talk about Thunderbird. A lot of people say that this ride is a lot more intense than the other wing coasters, and I would have to say it's on par with rides like Gatekeeper and Wild Eagle when it comes to intensity. That's a fairly unpopular opinion, but besides that launch, everything just feels like a traditional wing coaster. Finally, we get to my 5th opinion, and this might be because I'm a bigger person, but I am actually a huge fan, and I mean huge fan of the B&M vest restraints. Now, before I talk about this, let me be clear, if it's on a dive coaster, it's a no bueno for me. I have gotten to ride both Valraven and SheiKra, so I've gotten to experience both, and I have to say, Valraven with the vest restraints kills all potential. But when we're talking about B&M loopers like Banshee in the aforementioned B&M wings, I don't think the vest restraints cause any problem. 1, they're not supposed to be focused on airtime like rides like Valraven. 2, they are extremely comfy. I can honestly fall asleep in these. These are extremely comfy restraints that hug you as tight as they can, and no matter how tight they go, I still feel pretty comfortable. 3, they are pretty nice restraints, and when it comes to headbanging, well, that's the main problem they wanted to solve. On rides like Raptor and Rougarou, and even rides like Kumba, you're going to bang your head around a decent bit. But that's the sacrifice for a good ride. Though the vest restraints completely solve that problem, giving you a nice little cushion, and not having anything to bang your head on. Now, I am a bigger person like I said, so that could be the reason why I'm a huge fan of these, but let me know down in the comments below what you think of this. So, what do you think was the most controversial opinion? Did you agree with any of them? Let me know down in the comments below. This is Cedar Flags, and I'll see you all later.